want to build a foundation back for an incredible few months ahead. So I'm preparing myself again. I want to do a couple of months ahead in schedule that I'm going to try and achieve lots of good, fun stuff, at least in my mind, try to better myself. And to do that, I've got to do something this particular month now that I'm back to set myself up. Welcome back, Mere Mortalites, to another edition of Mere Mortals. You have me, Juan, here today, and I thought it's been a little while since I've actually done a full setup. I'm in my new environment back home. I'm done with all my travels. I'll talk about my travels in another conversation soon after this one. But today, I thought I'd talk about protocols, systems, think about it in discipline. Something that I've been listening to lately is, the ability to be disciplined and what that means, and then underlying that, it being kind of the systems that you place to actually go and do things. So what's the reason for me to talk about protocols, or at least my protocol in particular, and I'll get into the specifics of what I'm talking about. It's not just broad, it's going to be quite specific, and hopefully it's something that you out there who are listening to this right now, it kind of makes sense as to why. But I've just come back from a massive long holiday where, by the by, it was much more of an enjoyment, big holiday. I wasn't doing the daily disciplines. I wasn't following the daily systems that I would generally do when I'm at home, which meant I wasn't training kind of on the daily. I wasn't hitting my protein macros and my carbohydrate macros and fat macros. In fact, I was probably having more than anything calories from bloody alcohol than anything else. It was an awesome getaway. Wedding, honeymoon, everything combined. Lots of friends, lots of family, good times. Awesome. But that's now done. That was in the previous month, and right now, as I'm recording this, we're in July of 2025. And so I thought, look, at least for myself, I needed some sort of protocol, some sort of system, some sort of processes, the discipline, if you will, and the actual specifics behind that of getting me back on track. And so this is going to be quite specific to body, a little bit partially in the mind, not so much in the soul. If you know or have heard me talk about the three aspects that I look into, body, mind, and soul, you might split it up into different ways. And so you might be listening to this because you've gone ahead and come back from a big travel, you've got one planned up, or maybe you had a big break and you've kind of thought out or trying to figure out how exactly do I slice and break it down, or what does that look like? What does it look like in practice? The reason I wanted to document this is, one, I've done this quite a few times before, never off the back of such a big time away from my usual things. So personally, I wanted to just note that down as a reminder for myself. Look, where I am today wasn't where I was 3 months from a physical fitness, from a cardiovascular endurance, from everything else, and that's fine, right? But how do I get back to that, and in what sort of cadence, and not pushing myself too hard, given everything that I've got going on in my life, and potentially, as an example, you might have going on. So I'm not here to optimize it and getting back on track in 7 days. I went, get myself a month. How do I structure that? And so what I thought I'd do is I'll just talk through, there's two parts, one being my sort of protocol from a training perspective. How am I going to get back to what I was doing before? And then our secondary part, which is going to be, what is the protocol that I specifically think is worth focusing on and doing right? And I'll give you the example of mine. It's a little bit kooky. Not many people would follow it, but it's just what it is. So let's start with part one, which is really the training aspect of it. And so for me, it is foundational to think of, what is it that I'm trying to get back to? I think for the first instance, I am in my 30s now. I'm not aiming to get back to the strength I was in my lower 20s. If for whatever reason that comes up, that's later on the track. It's not right now getting back off a big holiday. So there's foundational things. And for me, it's my main lifts of a squat, the bench, the deadlift. There's just the general volume of training. So that's actual weight that I lift per body part throughout a week that I want to get back to. There's certain modalities that I've been enjoying doing, running, for instance, that I want to do more of, not for any particular reason just yet, but just because I've been enjoying it. Things for me that I don't need to get back into right now for whatever reason, maybe they do in the future, but it's just not right now, is rowing, running, cycling. All of those things could be present as a protocol, right? Whatever example fits for you. For me, it isn't. So obviously it doesn't come up on there. But the way that I noted it to myself, right? So I'll read you as I literally put this down, is a bit of a hypothesis. So I kind of said, look, I want to build a foundation back for an incredible few months ahead. So I'm preparing myself again. I want to do a couple of months ahead in schedule that I'm going to try and achieve lots of good, fun stuff, at least in my mind, try to better myself. And to do that, I've got to do something this particular month now that I'm back to set myself up. So, what is that? The hypothesis I put together is, look, I want to use a tried and true methodology, which here is the 5x5 program. You might have heard it in various different ways. Very simple: 5 sets, 5 reps, pick a weight. For me, it's a squat, bench, and deadlift. Do that a couple of times. Bingo, bango. There's your mango. I want to be able to try and reach 90% move strength while keeping it pretty short, so I can actually go and do my running and bodybuilding, Olympic lifting if I can. So I can already tell you I'm a couple of days into the July and using this protocol. I haven't done any Olympic lifting, and that's been okay. I think that's the thing that's just fallen off to the wayside. But at least for me personally, I've tried this before. The 5x5 program, unless you're just elite, then you're trying to do something completely different. For me, that has always seemed to work out the best. It's really simple. Pick a weight. I think I'll say specifically the way I've broken it down into the weeks that I was thinking about, but it's just pick a weight you think the first week's going to be pretty comfortable in, and then, step it up from there, step it up from there, get to a particular training weight that you feel comfortable with. That'll become the new baseline of weight that you use. And then off you go. Use whatever other programs you want to attempt or continue to use 5x5. But as I mentioned, I want to keep that running, keep the bodybuilding, and obviously not doing Olympic lifting, but that's what the original thought was as well. And so the way that I've broken that down and very easily was week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and what does every day look like? I'll keep it really simple here, and as I did here in my actual notes, it's Monday, bench, Tuesday, squat, Wednesday, deadlift, Thursday, bench, Friday, squat, Sunday, deadlift. So the only day off there from a gym training perspective was Saturday, which generally I leave for some sort of run. Now, I didn't document, what that looks like in terms of more training apart from this little detail where B for bench was also upper body training and vertical back movements, so just like from the back. S being squat plus lower body, and D for deadlift, and that's back, horizontal movement, and biceps. No more details than that. Not what exact movements, what rep ranges. Nah, nothing like that. Purely the aim of the game with this sort of month back is get yourself stabilized, don't get injured, don't get too sick, get yourself off the ground, just go into the rhythm, get into the cadence of it, and do it. Specifically on the week breakdown, week 1 is obviously, as I just sort of mentioned, that Monday through to Sunday breakdown. Week 2, my note is basically do the same as week 1 with 5% load. Right now, I'm in that second week where week 1 of July has gone through. I established some rudimentary idea of what weight I should be using. If you're really well trained, you'll know, as I kind of had a good idea of what I should aim for. If you're untrained to some degrees and you just took a big break, honestly, just on one of those particular days in a week, attempt to just go to a 5x5 weight that you feel comfortable, like you're not going to fail, like you need a spot, anything like that. So that was week 2 of 5% load. Week 3, same cadence, but push for the closer to working maxes of the past. That helps me at least understand, okay, how close am I to those working maxes? Sometimes when the break hasn't been that long, I can achieve them and sometimes even surpass them, which is cool. Other times where I'm expecting here, I'm not. I'm going to be probably a little bit under, but I've got to just test that out. And that would normally look like as 5x5. You might do a 5x5 where you do 5 reps at the weight that you want, 5 reps at the weight you want, 2 more, potentially 1 more that rep you want, and then just push a little bit more just to see if you can do, example, 100 kilo bench. You might try 105 kilo bench at that third set or that fourth set, and then maybe push it a little bit further. Whatever you're actually feeling, and that's you really have to go with how you're feeling, especially how close are you to, injury or to a fracture or to stress. Right, keep it within real means. Again, here we're mere mortals. We're not trying to kill ourselves. We're not trying to optimize, to the nth degree. If you're looking to do that, there's different ways, and I wouldn't be suggesting this particular thing. And then finally, the 4th week is actually set specifically again that 5x5 on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for bench, squat, and deadlift. And I actually said, my apologies, bench, squat, and deadlift on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. However, non 5x5, and actually work up to a more singular rep. So 2 reps, 1 rep, whatever you want to, again, pay that to. To me, it's probably be like 2 reps or a single rep to your new training maxes. And from there, so there's working maxes with 5 reps, and then there's your new training maxes or your, local base maxes, which I will then base a lot of my training of the next few months off. So I'll give you a real example for me. my all-time bench lift was 168 kilograms of bench. Do I think I'm going to get there at the end of the month? Heck no, no way. However, there's a potential that my new training max might be 142.5 kilos or 145 kilos. Awesome. If I can reach that sort of numbers, cool. I'll note that down as my new training max. And then the next few months will be off that basis, not off my all-time base. As you get older in age and in training styles and volume, you just have to face that reality. But that's it. And, I haven't gone and documented what I want to do for running, what I want to do for bodybuilding. Purely that's there as an adjacent of, I enjoyed it. I'll find some time. I do obviously do a daily tracking of my training, and I will plan it out a week in advance. I will note down, I want to do maybe 2 kilometers of running or 5 kilometers of running here. Sometimes I do more, sometimes I do less. Maybe I'll do it when I'm not even planning to do it. Maybe a friend will invite me to go for a run. Then I'll do that. But I found that this, at the very least, it's a cute, very specific focus for me, which is get back to my baseline strength as quickly as possible. 5x5 is that model that I use, at least for the protocol. And I go, look, I'm going to follow this. So if you have done something similar to that, let me know. I'd be interested to hear about it. I've said this a couple of times. Usually I sort of gauge it out is however many weeks I'm away from my general training, roughly about that many weeks it takes to get back, or even double that to like the actual full true maxes. And so I expect to get back, I was away for more than 4 weeks. I expect to get back to something close to what I was doing before, but I wouldn't expect to be hitting my old maxes, or at least of the last year, within 4 weeks. That might come in about a month's time. So that's the training body side of things. Again, there's a few other things around, my stretching and the style of how I train and everything else. But that is honestly secondary in this month to just being present, show up, do the moves, 5x5, push the strength, push the numbers, just get better on that. Beyond that, you can get fancy. But for the beginning, don't. Second part I want to talk about is the morning routine. So I've talked about protocols and specific things throughout the day and when it gets important. I, at least personally, so one, I'm a morning person. Everyone's going to have their own various phases that you work best in. There's plenty of, resources and stuff out there, probably Mal Walker and a few others, Andrew Huberman, who you can go and listen to a ton of things around, your super early morning person, morning person, late night person, really late night person, very, very late night. And, all of those shifts and changes, obviously, maybe figure out yourself what you are. I found that I'm an early morning person, not extremely early, but I'm a pretty early morning person. So take this with a grain of salt when I say the time frames or the times itself. One, it's what works for me. Two, I feel like the morning routine is probably the most important one. So that's coming from someone who wins the morning, if you want to term it that way. If you get all your work done in the afternoon, maybe you shift it to doing like an afternoon phase, and maybe that works just as well. But for me, the morning routine and what I wrote down in July, again, I've been doing this for many years, but I went specific, which I've done before in the past, because it helps me just be present and available and not thinking day to day, hey, how should I approach this? It's pretty easy. It's like, this is what I'm doing. And if I'm deviating away from that, it's either I'm getting lazy or I haven't like really dissected it enough. And so it's one piece off in terms of preparation that I don't have to think about on a day-to-day basis. So I'll run you through this. I'm probably going to just go very high level as a summary, just in case you just want to hear that. As a high level for a morning routine, I would probably say try to find the ability for you to connect to your soul, to your mind, to your body, to do it so that you're not bombarded with information, be it social media, news, something else. If you have babies, if you have kids, if you have really dependent partners, if you're looking after somebody else, if you've got animals, finding some sort of solitude, quietness to be able to just be in your body, being yourself, thinking it through, preparing for what's ahead, reviewing what's been in terms of the past day, the past week, anything like that. Finding that solitude is fantastic if you can do it. If you can't, it's about either connecting parts of the day or of that morning or of the afternoon that you can kind of sequence a few things together so it does give you a bit of time later on, or just, if you can't, just being super efficient and effective with your time as much as possible with that front. So I'm going to lay out my one. I'll give you some of the reasonings. Again, perhaps if you want to borrow some of this, wonderful. If you don't, I get it. I'm unique in some ways. I split it up into a section where it's basically just the times and the things I want to be doing. And then another section, which is actually what is the preparation I need to do the day prior. So You hear a lot, to win the day or win the morning, you need to prepare the day before. You know, similar lines, but let's just be direct. It's just you need to do some stuff prior to, so you don't do it in the morning. Otherwise, you're not going to do it. You're going to waste time, etc. So for me, 4:15 in the morning, wake up. Now, I came back from jet lag, and I was waking up at 9 p.m., 11 p.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And it's only, whatever it is now, 7 days after the jet lag or flying back home that I'm back to the 4:15 in the morning. So this is late for me, but it's actually what I actually want to do. So 4:15 in the morning, I wake up. I give myself 15 minutes for what? Toilet break. For me, I am regular cadence. Go to the toilet, bang, lay it out. Now, prep beforehand is lay out my clothes for gym and pack my bag. Especially, I'll tell you in a moment why. Then 4:30 in the morning to 5 in the morning. What I want, no, I'll be specific here. 2 boiled eggs and coffee. Ice only, no milk. Bang. 20 minutes of focus work. So there's loads of things that I work on at the moment. It's just get onto it. Doing my work, doing the things that I need to do, whatever it's like, really I want to be present and mindful of. 3 minutes of journal time. So I do a review of the day before and a little bit of like what I'm planning or how I want to identify for the day today. Then I'll have a pre-gym shake before actually traveling. Now, in amongst this, I'll be clear as well. Usually at that time, my partner, my wife is sleeping, and my daughter is also sleeping at the same time. So I have the solitude, I have the ability to do this. That's between 4:30 in the morning to 5 in the morning. Then I travel to the gym about 5:20 to 6:30 in the morning. So I give myself 70-minute block of training. I'm training. I'm following my training plan. I'm doing the runs that I can. Fantastic. By 6:30 in the morning, I'm getting changed and ready at the gym. So that's one of the bigger changes as well, is that I'm packing the day before with all the things I need, toothbrush, toothpaste, my clothes, all the towel, everything you need just to actually get changed and be ready, so that by 7 in the morning, I'm either meeting my wife and daughter here at home and then we're just going on with the day, or I'm meeting them at the gym where my wife actually goes to train, or if I can make it 15 minutes earlier so I can be here with my daughter, getting her ready, going all through all the processes, a quick breakfast before we get on to the day. And that's all I actually noted for the morning routine. It doesn't have to be any further than that. But again, the easy thing for me, and I've been doing it for a long time now, so it wasn't so much a dramatic change as it was just a reminder. These are the time frames. It just helps me go, cool. It's if I wake up at this time and I do this and I give myself this blocks and I'm focused in this particular times, I can accomplish so many things that I want to, both professionally, both personally, from a training perspective, from being in the right state mentally. And I can tell you, it's 8 days now into July, and I've been loving it. The morning routine has been fucking fantastic. The training has been good. My mental state and reviewing and a few things, again, just like life comes up and there's things to do. And it's been great. I've been able to deal with it. For me, the morning routine has helped. It always helps to just set like the most foundational core strength into the day. Makes me, the other term is like anti-fragile. And so I'd really, really enjoy it for that perspective. So protocols, whether it's specifically a training, if you're coming off, a big long time not training, something like that, or you just want to start up perhaps, or just doing into the next phase, put the protocol around, what are you aiming for? What's the hypothesis behind it? Be scientific. Detail it down so you can follow something. Again, a plan is going to be present. It's going to get punched in the face. I got sick a couple of days ago, so you kind of have to just maneuver with it, but you have to have a plan in the first place. And then overall for me, it's the morning protocol, which I go, that's the key thing that's a focus for me. Coming off a holiday, that was what's important to get right. I am in the process of doing it. I'll let you know maybe a little bit of the conversations with Karen or somewhere else about how it's going. But if I was to going to leave anything with you, it's win the morning, put a plan together, put a protocol together, hypothesize what you want to be doing, be scientific, use the numbers, keep yourself accountable, be really accountable and strict with yourself, compassionate with others. The Immortalites, I'll leave it there. I hope you're well. I hope you take out a lot of stuff from this. If you enjoy it, subscribe it, like it, comment, do all the various things that we enjoy here at the Mere Immortals. Thank you very much. Be well. One out.